Hello, community. Happy Thursday to all of us. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. Uh, I've been going on. However, I just noticed that the the audio was not on. So let me kickstart again from the very start. So, welcome, community. Happy to have you here with us today. Welcome to today's community event. We are very humbled, pleased to have you all here with us today on this beautiful Thursday. If you're joining in for the first time, tuning in for the first time, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And also, if you are returning and are regular, one that is always participating in our events, we are very humbled to have you here with us today. As you see, today's topic is about a new monetary system, eliminating the debt ceiling. And that's a big topic that has been around for 50 years, 100 years. And we see that literally mankind has made it to the moon and back. But one major topic that we've not found out or solved is our monetary system that is sustainable. So that is something that we all need to. This is a topic that will forever follow us and be a major topic for all of us because finances involves us. We can't move, we can't live, we can't be around without the finances, right? So, with that said, community, let's get right into. For those who have not yet, first of all, we do community events. Our daily activity, community activity, is to tweet. So the tweets are out. But in order for this to be in full effect, we need to all participate in this, right? We all need to be participating in this. It takes the creative minds that literally produce and generate the banners, and then the individual that tweets the tweets out, puts the tweets out, and then it takes us to engage with the tweets so we can put the word out. So those are the three stages, and it takes every single one of us, community. So let's all engage. Those who have not yet, let's ensure that we can all participate and that we are all active participants in the process of bringing awareness to our industry and to our ecosystem. So with that said, as always, we'll come back to your comments at the end of this session. As always, as we have quite a topic to cover, so I'd like us to really get right into it and kickstart it. As always, I'd like us to start, just briefly look at the coin market cap and just look at what the sentiment is in the market. We are down roughly 2.4%. As we see, it's a very young and illiquid market that is currently, like every new industry, led by sentiments and emotions right now. Because it's still lacking that deep liquidity and maturity in the industry. Right now, it's based on speculation. It's based on sentiments, like we said, right, and emotions. And as the market will mature and become more liquid, now investors will focus more on fundamentals, on facts, on long-term sustainability, efficiency, and so on and so forth. However, the beautiful thing about all of this is we don't have to wait until that takes place or the regulations come in place. We have to be prepared and implement solutions, be part of the solution way before, instead of just sitting around and waiting for us to for the regulators to dictate to us how we should move forward. So it's always good to be a step ahead because it gives you that edge within the industry, because with so many cryptocurrencies being launched daily, weekly, monthly, how are we going to stand out, right? You need to stand out in a positive way, and the best way is not just by being obnoxious, but rather being the one that first of all understands the community, the industry, and identifies the opportunities within the industries, understands and identifies the challenges within the industry, and then also uses these challenges not to scare them off, but rather embraces these challenges and looks at them as solutions, and then turns these challenges as an opportunity and these opportunities into solutions. With all of that said, those who have not yet, please do so. Let's engage with the tweets. Let's all participate in putting the word out about the industry we are so passionate about. With that said, let's get right into today's session. Like the topic already gave it away, President Trump and Senator Warren say that they finally agree on one issue. And this is something that usually don't happen that often, because these two usually are always on the opposite side of any political issue. However, both the president and Ms. Warren agreed on something, and that is to eliminate the debt ceiling, the US debt ceiling. As we know, this is a topic that has been with us for 50 years, 100 years. And like we said, this is a topic that is affecting the entire global market. And why is this so important? Why are we highlighting this so much? Is because this comes not from just some random Twitter influencers or social media influencers, but these come from the two most vocal and charismatic politicians, right? The president himself, and then Elizabeth Warren is famously known as being the mouthpiece of the traditional financial industry. All the financial institutions, the banks, she's like their spokesperson. They have her on the pay grade, right? They literally have her in their pockets, literally, right? So with that said, she's always in the pushing the narrative or interest of the traditional financial system. And so they both agree on eliminating the debt ceiling. This is something that is really that we really need to take serious, as like we said, we've been through various monetary systems. Right after World War II, we've been through the Bretton Woods system. That was the gold standard. Everyone was on it. And then that's everyone was on it based on the US, because the US came out of the World War being the largest gold reserve holder. So those 44 nations were pegged to the US, and the US was the only literally nation that had so much gold reserves that was pegged to the gold, right? To gold as a reserve. And as we know, 27 years later in 71, all that also stopped. And now we're in the fiat system that we're in today, because the US was just printing way more fiat than they had gold backing it. So we've been, as you see, going through various monetary systems and throughout the history. And we, even till today, we still see how none of them is really working smoothly. Besides, as we will see as we progress further, we'll see contrasts, right? So far, this is what the takeaway is. The sitting president, US President Trump, and Elizabeth Warren are agreeing on eliminating the debt ceiling. It's not in the law right now. It's still just the talks. However, for them being so vocal about it on social platforms, there is something to it, right? So they're all calling to raise the debt ceiling. Actually, not just raise it, but remove it altogether. So in other words, they want to abolish the cap on US debt, remove it altogether. Now, why is this something so significant? Is because if you think about it, one of former President Trump's right hand, Elon Musk, is actually still raising the concerns over the debt ceiling and the deficits. Now, deficits have been following the US for the past, since the early 2000s. So for the last 25 years, literally, the US has not seen any trade surplus. They've always had to print new fiat, just to cover their expenses, their basic expenses. And this is why we say this is nothing new. This has been a topic that has been around us and with us for the longest. So with that said, Elon Musk was literally quoting President Trump all the way back in 2012, so 13 years ago, up to 2013 even, right? Where he was quoting President Trump saying, no member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced. Deficits not allowed, right? These are politicians in their elements, right? Pre-election, they always make these big promises. Once elected, literally, it's a 180, right? And same thing again, I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I am a Republican. I am embarrassed, right? So here we are. This drama is unfolding right in front of us. And this is what is right now in the markets. These are the topics right now that are literally being whispered around and are causing the markets to be uncertain, and so on and so forth. Is there any merit to this? We should ask ourselves. And as we all know, is yes, of course, there is merit to deficits and debt. And if we see the largest economy in the world being the US, and the global reserve currency being the US dollar, talking about eliminating the debt ceiling, and US already is the largest debtor in the world. Like there's nothing even close to the US in terms of debt. They're closing in on 37 trillion just in debt alone. And US reached a point where the interest payment alone is higher than the next 9 large economies combined. So this is just to show us the situation we find ourselves in right now, in terms of global economy. And yes, loss of inflation causes purchasing power, loss of purchasing power. And this chart speaks louder than a million words. You see how this chart only knows one way. It's just been going down. And the more you print, the more inflation you're causing, the more debt you're issuing, the loss of purchasing power. That's inflation and loss of purchasing power go hand in hand. That's just the reality of things. And this is exactly what we're experiencing right now. And this is why when we see both Warren and Trump talking about eliminating debt ceiling, and so far the purchasing power has only known one way without eliminating the debt ceiling. So right now, having that out of the way opens door to a whole new monetary system all over again. One that has that is not monitored, is not regulated, it's wide open. And with any election, it gives power to the sitting administration to do as they please, right? Just like in 71, when Nixon eliminated the US from the gold standard, and now it opened doors to just print money even more. And now here we are again, being removed, debt ceiling being removed. That means there won't be no votes. There won't be no voting on it and setting a max cap on it, but it will be open-ended. But there is some sense out of this madness. It might look chaotic and all of that, but we'll make sense out of all of this. Why is all of this happening right now? We should always ask ourselves. And we mentioned earlier that humanity has flown to the moon and back, but a monetary system is still a major issue on Earth that has not been resolved. That doesn't count for Switzerland. I'm sure you've heard me talking about Switzerland so many times, and it's simply because they're literally running their monetary system so smoothly. Like so many central banks could learn so much from them, right? And the reason why is that the complete opposite right now. And they're actually having record deflation, and for the first time again in the since 4 years. So we'll get to what deflation actually means in an economy. But for right now, what we need to understand is that all these inflation actually pulled back the falling prices for imports. So while tariffs wars are going on back and forth, because the strong Swiss franc, it's actually making the goods, it doesn't really affect it as much. And this is because, as a result, is because the appreciation of the Swiss franc. And why is it appreciating? Is because investors are literally running towards the safe haven currency. Actually, the US dollar is supposed to be the safe haven asset. It is the global reserve currency. It's backed by the largest economy in the world. Its bond markets, its bond like treasuries are supposedly, or used to be, undisputedly the most secure and trusted investment, the safest. But now reality starts sinking in, and those that have a solid monetary system that is sustainable and don't go with inflation, debt driven, lose control over the debt ceilings and all of that, this causes uncertainty among investors. And this is why, because the Swiss franc is so well managed and they're actually facing deflation, and we'll understand soon, we'll just get right into it, what that means. And it's looked at as a safe haven currency. So investors are actually, as we speak, during these uncertainties, they're purchasing billions of dollars in Swiss francs. And this, of course, is raising the price, right? The value of the Swiss franc. And this, to counter this, the Swiss have to cut the interest rates, and then print more fiat. But unlike the US, not to pay cover their basic needs like healthcare, social security, Medicaid, and all that, but to purchase even more foreign currencies and be even more liquid. So that's exactly the difference of a liquidity-based monetary system and a debt-based monetary system. So that's the takeaway from here. So let's get back and understand, what does it mean if we are so familiar with inflation, like with the market that is inflation. We all saw this chart, and it tells us what inflation means, right? You lose your purchasing power, you raise your debt, you accumulate even more debt, and your purchasing power just goes down, meaning you can't purchase as much with your money because your money loses purchasing power due to inflation and the high debt that you keep accumulating. But deflation is the opposite. What is deflation, right? Deflation in general is decline in price for goods and services. So the prices are declining. You see the difference? Not the fiat currency is declining, but the prices are declining because the fiat is appreciating in value. So typically associated with a contraction in the supply of money. Contraction is the opposite of there's not enough money in the market. There's more demand for that money than there is supply. And credit to the economy as well, right? So both money and credit there's less supply in it. So during deflation, the purchasing power of that specific currency rises over time. It's the complete opposite. So in this specific example, this is why the Swiss franc is gaining its purchasing power, is actually going up. It's rising over time. And to slow it down, the Swiss National Bank still has to print more fiat. However, not to cover their basic expenses, but to purchase. They're using it to purchase more foreign currencies like the US dollar, like euros, pounds, and other major economies' foreign currencies, to actually bring those fiat currencies up in the market. and they're doing it with $1 trillion, because that's how much foreign currencies they hold, roughly $1 trillion worth of foreign currencies. So this is the difference between a monetary system within a central bank that is based on debt, loss of purchasing power, inflation, and one that is based on foreign currencies, liquidity, right? And this is why we always talk about how well run the Swiss National Bank is, how they're running their books, they're balancing their sheets very, very well, right? And they're actually deflationary, meaning that their fiat currency is increasing, is rising in purchasing power. The purchasing power of the currency is rising. It's not doing what the dollar has been doing, right? Now, keep in mind, this is not talking about what's bad, what's good. This is not about good or bad. This is just about understanding our current monetary system, how the current global reserve currency is in a dilemma right now, and that there is a solution to it. And there is the Swiss franc that is actually showing us that if you run it with liquidity, based on liquidity and not based on debt and inflation, you can get it right. And we can see that it can work because they're also on a fiat-based monetary system. But the difference is one is running it based on debt and inflation, and loss, which causes loss of purchasing power. And the Swiss are running it based on liquidity. They have deep liquidity in foreign currencies, and that's what they use. They're not using interest rates. They're using their liquidity to balance their currency, right? So that's the difference, community. Now, let's look at the assets. What we need to, the takeaway here is that what are the assets right now? We've been talking about these things for so many times. There are 4 major assets, but we're going to focus on 3 because commodity gold is actually hitting one all-time high after the other. And it's considered literally, just like the Swiss franc, the safe haven that investors are literally running to right now in times of uncertainty. So one of the assets is the real estate. And as we see here, there are just under 700 billion worth of homes, real estate, that are for sale. And that's in the US alone. And it's a new all-time high. What does this mean? This means that there's more supply of homes than there is demand. What happens if there is more supply than demand? You dilute the market. And that means that your home obviously is losing its value even further, simply because of 2 things. First of all, the real estate is not liquid. It's not a liquid asset. It can take months or years for you to get rid of your apartment, your house, whatever the case may be. And especially with almost 700 billion homes that are for sale right now, there's more supply than demand. And this is like we said in the US alone. And another thing also is that there's so much of it. Whenever there's more of something than the demand, more supply than the demand for it, of course it loses its value. That's just the reality of things. And this is one of the asset classes that we're in, real estate. China is in the second largest economy, is even in a more challenging situation. Let me put it that way. They're even going through more challenges because their real estate market is actually the larger than that of the US even. And they're in deep trouble as well, right? So this is real estate. We see the situation that we're in real estate. It's not a solid situation. There's more supply than demand. So the real estate market right now is not liquid. It's not the best one right now at this current situation. What's another thing? Another asset class is the stock, right? And nobody else is better to use as an example as the Oracle of Omaha, right? Also known as Warren Buffett. And he's been amassing hundreds of billions of dollars in cash and has been selling more and more stocks. And the irony is that he doesn't even explain why. and he didn't explain in his annual letter. I believe it's gotten to a point where he's been repeating himself so often till he's like, use your common sense. Why do I always have to spell things out to you? We are all adults. There's certain things we don't have to just spell out all the time. So he decided not to explain himself, right? I mean, after all, he's a 94-year-old individual, and he's been doing this for 60 plus years. And so we should understand why he's doing it, and we should use our common sense and see why, because the stocks are just overpriced. And he's been sitting on a cash pile of larger than 334 billion in cash. That's how much he's been selling. He's been selling more and more stocks in the latest quarter alone. And this is a record high cash pile, like we've never seen before with him, right? 334 billion worth in cash just sitting on it. This just shows you that he realizes that the stock market are overvalued. It's just too overvalued. And because the world, the global economy has nowhere else to take their liquidity to, and because the US market, the US assets, bond market, real estate, stocks are the largest and the most liquid, 70%, over 70% of the global wealth ends up in the US. That's how it's been so far. And we'll get to the point where it changed. So that's the stock market. So we've looked at real estate, that's the stock market, and now let's get to the bond market, right? The bond market just got downgraded just a few weeks ago. The last credit rating agency, Moody, just downgraded the US credit rating, right? And why did they do that? Why did they do that? It's because the fears of the US, not the US deficits and the increase in the debt and the deficits of decades, multiple decades in deficits, and also the debt ceiling always being debated till the final second. And this is why they got downgraded by the final and last, the third Moody's credit rating agency. So Moody's downgraded, and this will push borrowing costs even further, because downgrading such a large economy, this means that it's not top notch anymore, right? And this will now affect consumers like you and myself. Higher interests on credit cards, on mortgage rates, on auto loans, and so on and so forth, right? So this affects us directly or indirectly. We don't have to be present in the US to be directly affected, because it's the largest economy. It trickles down to the rest of the world as well. Another takeaway I would like us to look at here is just that it's just here. Yes. So why was it lowered? Why did they decide finally to downgrade? It's because the major credit rating agency in the United States, Sovereign Credit Rating, it downgraded it from AAA, which is the highest possible, to AA1, right? And this was because, and it's being cited, increased burden of federal government's budget deficit, the increase in debt, and there is literally no solutions in sight for the past decades, because the very first time that US was downgraded was in 2011. That was the first time, and then 2017, and now here again. And this is just, they increased the federal debt. This is another thing. Like even this Donald Trump's beautiful bill, right? Big beautiful bill is literally planned to increase the debt by trillions of dollars, even more. So these are the things that are causing so much uncertainty. Like we saw, the US assets that used to be so safe and secure, we looked at the real estate market, almost 700 billion are in the markets for sale. So there's too much supply. We saw Warren Buffett sitting on over 330 billion in cash, selling off all sorts of stocks because they're overvalued. Here we are, the bond market. Bond market the largest economy and the global reserve currency has been just downgraded by the third and final credit rating agency, right? Citing that the burdens of the federal government's deficit is just too much. The debt ceiling just keeps increasing. And all this debate back and forth of the debt ceiling between Democrats and Republicans is just overwhelming. They need to get the act together, right? And that's why they downgraded it. And this is going to raise borrowing costs over time, like we just said, specifically for the locals, right? And how are they going to keep up with the high interest charges, right? And it's not going to get any better, right? With the downgrade, this is not going to get any better because economic uncertainty, especially regarding these tariff policies, like we said, it causes a lot of businesses, institutions, and individuals to just hold, right? They're just sitting by and just watching what's next, what's going to happen next. So, and another thing also, the Fed, Jerome Powell, that is actually being pushed by the president to cut interest rates, is also saying that these tariff wars are literally slowing down the growth and are literally boosting inflation. So they're making it harder to lower the Fed's interest rate. It's like a situation where between hard place and deep waters, right? So this is the situation we're in within the three largest assets. This is the bond market, just got downgraded, right? We saw the stock market here. It's being liquidated by the largest literally investor in the industry, right? It's just been selling and stocks and hoarding cash. And then we saw real estate market. This is the third asset class. It's just almost 700 billion of homes are on sale right now. And that's just in the US alone. So we see that the three current asset classes are in deep waters, are in trouble. What does that mean? It means that investors, institutions are looking for a new asset that is not overbought, that is not saturated, that is not having too much supply like we experience in real estate right now, that is not overvalued like the stock market, and that is not being downgraded by credit agencies. And that is the digital asset market. It's still so young. We're still in the early stages. There's still so much upside swing. And this is why large institutions such as JP Morgan, BlackRock, Visa, MasterCard, UBS, the Swiss National Bank, the Swiss government, Post Finance, which is a government-owned bank, are all basing or building infrastructures on Ethereum and building applications and products based on smart contracts, DeFi, right? Staking, all of that. And this is one of them. One of the larger players, actually the largest bank in the world in terms of market cap, is now taking advantage of the situation and is accepting Bitcoin ETFs as collateral for loans. I'd like to bring your attention to today's date, right? This is yesterday, June 4th, and this is hitting headlines. This is the headline right now. Is that JP Morgan is accepting Bitcoin's ETFs as collateral for loans. This is yesterday's headline. It's all over various social platforms. So basically what it does is JP Morgan plans to bring over wealthy customers with a new offering that allows them to access loans using their existing Bitcoin exchange traded funds as collateral. This is something that has broken news yesterday, right? So according to Bloomberg report on June 4th, this is breaking news right now. So the Wall Street giant is set to expand its financing options to include Bitcoin ETFs, right? And like they say, simply put, the bank's wealthy clients will be able to use their cryptocurrency ETFs as collateral when applying for loans. First of all, this is a major deal, of course, But I hate to break it to like everybody else outside the community, but this is old news. This is not news, and we'll get to that. In a nutshell, JP Morgan plans to let clients borrow against crypto ETFs, not just Bitcoin, but all these other ETFs that are about to be rolled out, including Ethereum that is about to be rolled out. You'll be able to now borrow against your crypto, right? So crypto ETFs move from just being traded assets. Now they're getting into the deep liquidity, which is credit instruments now. Now, do we realize what's happening here? These are the same banks that were issuing, throwing money at IPOs during the early .com, before the .com bubble. These are the same products that were being built or offered to the clients during the housing bubble, packaged in mortgage-backed securities. That was a product sold to unassuming investors or home seekers, new home buyers. And here we are again. We're coming full circle again, where banks and other financial institutions are putting together products that are highly volatile, illiquid, risky, and offering them as collateral. Same thing was done that caused the housing bubble in 2008. Here we are again, right? Here we are again. And this is why prompting internal policy shifts at major banks and raising questions for global oversight. So already people are raising questions already, because those who are in the know, those who study financial history and economy and are aware, are seeing this from a million miles and seeing what's about to come. And you should look at it both ways, not in a negative way, but this just shows you that we are hitting that time again where there's easy money, tons of liquidity is getting ready to hit the markets, hit the blockchain, hit the industry, because real estate is overcrowded, oversupplied. You can't make, there's no investments over there anymore. Stock markets are just overvalued, overpriced. And then we saw how the bond market is being downgraded, and it's just you're holding something that is losing purchasing power. So the global economy is yearning for a new product, financial product, where they can get involved, and that's the digital asset industry. That's the real world asset industry. And this is why large financial institutions that establish are now coming up with new products, crypto products, right? And the deepest liquidity, the best way to do it is get into the credit instruments, because that's where the derivatives market comes in. That's where the $1 quadrillion market is. And that's where all of this is shifting. Once more, this is no news. This is 2 days ago, right? This was 2 days ago, this article, and this one was yesterday's. So this is headline. This is headline based on them. But let me remind us again, community, these are topics we've been discussing for the last 2 years, right? Don't take my word for it. Look at this article 1.5 years ago. So almost closing in on 2 years. This is back from 2023. And what's JP Morgan been doing? They already did their debut. They didn't do their debut 2 days ago or yesterday. They did this 2 years ago. They've been tokenizing BlackRock's shares and using them as collateral. This is old news. There's nothing new. It's just that knowledge is power. And if you don't have it, if you're not informed, you're too carried away by trading meme coins on Solana, and you don't understand what's actually happening in the background. For many, this is news, but they've been doing this for the longest, right? And where have they been doing this? They've been doing this on Ethereum 2 years ago. They've already have a tokenized collateral network, and we're using BlackRock's tokenized shares as a money market fund. For what? For as collateral on the OTC, over the counter. For what? For the derivatives market. They've been doing this back in 2023. They already did their first live blockchain-based collateral settlement transaction. So why is everybody so surprised and hyped on this like it's a fresh new idea, like it's a new news? They've been doing this already. And again, don't take my word for it. Let's look at it here. Let's look at it here. So here it is, right? So JP Morgan's new rollout begin with BlackRock's iShare, right? Because it's currently the largest spot Bitcoin ETF. Why are they starting? They say they are beginning with BlackRock's money market funds. And while BlackRock's IBITS, the first product in JP Morgan's offering, expansion could eventually include other crypto funds. Like we said, this is just the first one. But they didn't just do it yesterday. They didn't start doing this yesterday, community. This has been going on for closing in on 2 years already, right? It's not hitting headlines. So what we're saying, community, is that all that we've been discussing for the past 2 years, 1.5 years, is now happening right in front of us. And it's hitting mainstream now. It's finally being discussed, being talked about, but it's no news. This is no breaking news. They've been doing it. They already had their first live blockchain-based collateral, and nowhere else than on Ethereum. They already have a tokenized collateral network back in 2023. They already used BlackRock's tokenized shares. So nothing they're doing yesterday or today is new. There is no news around that. They've been doing that. It's just that now it's hitting mainstream, right? Now it's just hitting mainstream. So, but it's not just the US, by the way. It's Hong Kong as usual. They're already also offering crypto derivatives, because derivatives is the credit market. It's the most liquid market, a quadrillion-dollar market, and everyone wants a piece of this. And like we said, the industry is in need of new assets, not real estate that is oversupplied, not stock market that is overvalued, not the bond market that is being volatile and downgraded right now and loses you're holding an asset that is losing its purchasing power literally and keeps inflating it, and now are debating on having a cutting off, no cap, removing the cap altogether. So there is no debt ceiling anymore. So smart money doesn't want to hold something that is so volatile and uncertain. But where there is a challenge, there is a solution. Now that we've talked about all these challenges, right, and we've identified that it's not just the US, but UBS and BlackRock and Credit Suisse, Post Finance, and so on and so forth. But it's also Hong Kong that is also into this. It's also Singapore and other Europe in general as well. They're already offering products to the clients as well. Now, another thing also that we need to highlight is MasterCard, right? They're predicting that they want to, again, tokenize 100% of their transactions. And they want to do that in Europe because Europe has MiCA. MiCA is the regulatory framework in Europe. And by 2030, so within the next 5 years, they want 100% of their transactions tokenized. Right now, it's 50%. So half of the e-commerce transactions are tokenized. Nearly half is already tokenized. Do we see where this is heading, community? So this is not wishful thinking. This is not speculating, and no, these are facts. And we all know what MasterCard is doing together with JP Morgan. And just as a quick reminder, in case we forgot, MasterCard integrates its multi-token network, blockchain network with JP Morgan's Kinexys, right? And what's interesting here is we know that JP Morgan is on Ethereum, So MasterCard, look at what MasterCard is saying. They announced that it's integrating their multi-token network for tokenized deposits and tokenized assets with Kinexys, which is JP Morgan. JP Morgan is the largest bank in the world. And MasterCard has a multi-token network where they tokenize assets, deposits. So whenever you deposit, let's say you are a customer of JP Morgan and you deposit your salary. That salary is being looked at as a tokenized deposit. And it's already on chain. And then it allows clients to do, clients of the two solutions to send payments across networks, right? And then they even tell you what the challenges are right now. So this provides a simplified solution to enable banks to engage with tokenized deposits. So whenever clients deposit their funds on JP Morgan, what happens is those funds are automatically on chain. They're already on the blockchain. So we don't have to go through the hustle of having to go through an intermediary bank. They don't have to do that. So they're literally saying we are unlocking the greater speed and settlement capabilities for the entire value chain. So both solutions represent bank payments where? On a blockchain. So how beautiful is this? How many of us are so frustrated with trying to get our money, our income, our fiat from the real world on the blockchain? It's a hustle. It's pain. It's frustrating. Now, the largest bank in the world and the second largest payment process in the world are telling you that, hey, we came up with a solution, by the way. Whenever you deposit your funds in our bank, it's actually directly on the blockchain through tokenized deposits. It's tokenized deposits, and you can use it right away using your MasterCard. These are the things that are happening, but are not being discussed. They're not being talked about because it's not trending, right? But these are things that have been happening for a while. This is from last year, right? So what does all of this tell us, community? What does all of this tell us? Like, we've been discussing this for so many times. Like we say, the foreign exchange, this is foreign currencies, right? Foreign currencies are being tokenized. Tokenization is the future. And tokenized foreign currencies are predominantly, like we see here, we've been discussing this, it's already on Ethereum. And tokenized treasuries like BIDL token, of course, it's also on Ethereum. More than 75% is also on Ethereum. We just saw the bond market, global bond market. We see how that is being brought on here. We saw the stock market being tokenized and put over here. We saw commodities such as gold is also being put together and brought on here. And commodities are almost literally 99% is on Ethereum. So Ethereum is literally dominating the entire tokenization of assets because it's led by infrastructures built by JP Morgan on Ethereum, Visa, MasterCard on Ethereum, BlackRock on Ethereum, and they're using each other's infrastructure on Ethereum, and now they're rolling out their products in 2025. And it's being looked at as if it's brand new, breaking news, but these are old news. These are things that we've been discussing for so long, and it's just now getting into the ears of mainstream. It's just now hitting mainstream, but none of these things are new. None of them. So what does all of this tell us, community? What's the takeaway of all of this? Now that we've discussed this, what's the new monetary system with the eliminating the debt ceiling? This is where we stand right now. While we're being distracted with debates back and forth over Elon Musk and the president, and then the politicians agreeing on removing the debt ceiling, and the real estate having 700 billion in unsold real estate, Warren Buffett holding over 300 billion in cash, and then we also see how the Moody has downgraded the credit rating for the US bond market. All these are distractions from actually the main event, which is actually Circle, that is actually finally being traded as we speak. They're being traded right now. Because the question we should ask ourselves is, who is wanting to purchase real estate right now? Stocks, US bonds. With these uncertainties, there need to be a new packaged asset. And this is the digital asset. Infrastructures need to be built. They're already been built. They're just rolling out products right now as we speak. And the number one vehicle is the stablecoin. And this stablecoin issuer is Circle. They are issuing the USDC stablecoin. How are you going to provide liquidity for all these real world assets? How are you going to provide liquidity for JP Morgan's derivatives market from their collateral? Now that they want to use ETFs as collateral, it needs to be paired with US dollars, right? And who do you think they're going to pair these assets with? It's not a coincidence. It's going to be USDC. It's going to be Circle. There's a reason why. Circle's aim is to become a full reserve bank. And they themselves will be able to custody, issue, they already are a stable coin. All they need is a banking license, and they can start issuing loans by themselves. And this is exactly the whole point. The world doesn't need governments, countries to purchase US debt anymore. Now, the real liquidity comes from within. Financial institutions, banks, established ones or new ones like Circle right now that just hit the stock market today are the ones now that are going to purchase trillions of dollars worth of US debt. And why is this so significant? Is because keep in mind, BIDL, which is tokenized US treasuries, is paired with USDC. So that means that the more treasuries that are being bought through BlackRock, and they're always the largest ones, they're always the number one, just like they have the largest Bitcoin, IBIT is the largest BlackRock ETF, Bitcoin ETF. They're going to have the largest also tokenized treasury, of course, as always. And because they're paired with Circle's USDC, it's going to pull USDC along with it, making USDC a $1 trillion asset, $1 trillion stablecoin. And that's why it needed to be traded. It needed to be regulated. It needed to be on the New York Stock Exchange. It needs to be audited. It needs to be showing legitimacy so that institutions can even touch it and invest in it. And it did so well in its IPO, like we see here. Let's listen in right here. So this was it tripled at that time. It already tripled in price.
It sounds so uninteresting, but it's actually fascinating. And crypto continues to be one of the hottest parts of this market. Circle is up. It's nearly tripled in its debut today. It opened at 69. It's now trading at 89. This is nearly a $20 billion market cap right now. Stablecoin issuer. It sounds so...
So just to put it into perspective, they opened at 31. That alone was more than expected. They started the market at $31, and now they already hit over $90. They tripled in the first day of opening and already hit like 20 billion market cap. And keep in mind, if you hit 100 billion, you get listed in S&P 500, meaning that hedge funds, pension funds will be forced to track you and purchase your stocks. So they're only a 5x away from being listed already within the prestigious S&P 100 within the first few hours of their launching. That's how much demand Circle has. Not because it's a good company, but because they understand the power of stable coins, and that this stable coin USDC is actually paired to a tokenized treasury, BIDL. And that treasury, the bond market, will be in demand, and all stable coins in the world issuers, whether you're a bank, whether you're a financial institutions, you'll be required to purchase US treasuries. And the largest tokenized US treasuries is BIDL, and BIDL is paired to USDC. So what does that tell you? It tells you that event is just a matter of time for USDC to become the largest by far stablecoin. And everyone wants a piece of the shares of Circle. This is what's happening right now. And this just means that there's so much liquidity, community, that is about to hit the industry. And with the debt ceiling being removed from the US, they have to do that. How else will they be able to catch up with the demand of the US treasuries from all these financial institutions and banks and that are being onboarded and that are issuing their own stable coins? They'll have to purchase US treasuries, and they'll purchase tokenized US treasuries. So this will open doors for the US to print just like the Swiss, because there'll be so much demand for stable coins. It will push up the price or the value of the US dollar, so that it gives the US room to print, to inflate it but to print more US dollars and flood the market even more, but without causing inflation, because they won't be able to keep up with so much demand that is about to hit the market. And specifically, this demand, like commodities, it will be on Ethereum. Tokenized treasuries is predominantly on Ethereum. Tokenized foreign currencies is predominantly on Ethereum. And that's exactly where we are. So just by us being on Ethereum alone, all boats are going to be lifted. But we don't settle for good enough. We want the best. This is why we address the 4 challenges. We want to make the most out of it, not good enough. We don't want to be good enough. We want to make the most out of it. And to achieve that, you have to address these 4 challenges, which is lack of liquidity, right? Which is inflation, like we just saw, unsustainable staking distributions, and of course, unsustainable or inefficient use of your volume. If you can address these 4 challenges, you'll make the most out of this bull cycle. Because one thing for sure, community, if there's a takeaway from today's session, is this right here: eliminating the debt ceiling. And 2 that are actually always in the crossfire of each other, that usually oppose each other, are now agreeing on one thing, and that's to eliminate the US debt ceiling. And not just that for one term, but let's pass a bill to get rid of it forever. That is the new beginning of a new monetary system that is based on tokenization, that is driven not by the Feds anymore, but is driven by financial institutions that are issuing stablecoins. And it's led by none other than Circle itself, that just got listed today on New York Stock Exchange. They'll be the largest US Treasury buyers in the entire world. And they'll be the most trusted because their reserves are managed by BlackRock, who holds 10% of Circle's shares already. This is before they purchase these shares for their own shareholders. So there's a lot going on right now. And if we are distracted and we don't pay attention, we'll miss the most important things. And then once these important things finally hit news, we'll think that these are breaking news, like yesterday, right? Many think that JP Morgan accepting ETFs as collateral, specifically from BlackRock, that it's breaking news. This is not breaking news. You are just not listening. You're just not informed and aware about this. This is old news, right? This is recycled news, because like we see here, these are things that JP Morgan has been doing with BlackRock, right? They've been already going through their fast life, collateral, blockchain-based collateral settlements with BlackRock. They've been doing this on Ethereum. They already had their tokenized collateral network. So this is why we have so many community events, to be up to date, to be informed, for us to know, be in the how, in the know-how, right? And not to be thinking that, oh, something is breaking news when it's already old news. Actually, it's just now hitting mainstream, but these things have already been happening, right? And it's, at the end of the day, it's all about collateral. And collateral means credit. Credit means derivatives market. Derivatives market means $1 quadrillion liquidity. That's where, and where is all of that happening? It's on Ethereum. That's how much liquidity and volume is about to hit Ethereum. And this is not some random meme coin that is just going through a phase and a hype phase. These are JP Morgan, BlackRock. They're here to stay. They're building infrastructures. This is MasterCard. This is Visa. This is the Swiss National Bank, the Swiss government. You know, like, these are not meme coins that are just here for 2 weeks and then they'll fade out. These are major, well-established, highly regulated institutions that are being traded on the New York Stock Exchange, like Circle, that are literally predominantly on Ethereum, like we just saw. And this is not wishful thinking and speculating and hoping and being a maxi about it. No, these are facts that you can verify on Etherscan and see for yourself that the foreign currencies are predominantly right here in blue on Ethereum. If you look at treasuries, this is the most important asset. The most important asset in the whole financial industry are bond markets, US treasuries market. Forget about real estate, forget about stocks, forget about all of that. The most important asset in finance that governments, institutions, individuals are purchasing is right here, treasuries. And who is dominating it? It's on Ethereum. It's on Ethereum. What's next? Gold, commodities. It's even worse. Look, 99% is on Ethereum. Even your favorite Bitcoin maxi now has to just understand that your Bitcoin is being traded on Ethereum. So that's the topic for today, community, is for us to understand that there's a bunch of liquidity about to hit the market. And we need to be aware of this. We need to understand this, be on top of this, and not be sidetracked by all these other news that are happening around us in terms of how much real estate is for sale, Elon Musk and Trump going back and forth on social platforms, and all these other distractions are going on while we're missing out the bell that Circle just is being traded right now, and will be eventually the largest buyer of US treasuries, which right now is predominantly on Ethereum. And that means, what that means for us as a community is that we are getting ready to be hit by a lot of liquidity. And if your ecosystem is not retaining any, if your supply is not shrinking, how are you going to make it? We just understood one thing. Let's close out with this. This is how we're closing out. We all know inflation. We saw the chart. There's really nothing much to say. Picture speaks more than 1,000 words. We don't have to add any words here. This is what inflation looks like, right? So we know this. So let's focus on deflation. So deflation, what does deflation do? During deflation, the purchasing power of that specific currency is rising over time. It's going up. Now, this is deflation. So let's ask ourselves this question. If deflation is increasing your purchasing power, making it rise over time, what about scarcity? What if it was scarce? How about what happens then? Because that's what BRL is. BRL is not deflationary. It is beyond deflation. It's scarce. We started with 1 million in supply, and its supply just keeps shrinking. It becomes less and less. So if deflationary is good enough, but good enough, we don't settle for good enough. We want the most. We want the best. So we went for supply that is actually shrinking. It's reducing it from its total supply, right? For a staking platform, you want a supply that is shrinking, because we see that the bond market, which is the most sought after market, why would you hold a bond of an asset that is losing its purchasing power, and you see the chart just going down and it just keeps going down and you lose your purchasing power? That's not the type of asset you want to hold as smart money. And this is why smart investors are rushing and going to a deflationary asset, which is the Swiss franc. Do we understand this? People in times of trouble and uncertainty, investors don't flock to an inflationary asset. They flock to a safe haven. And why is it safe? Because it's deflationary. It's as simple as that. To be a safe haven, at least you have to be deflationary. Don't take my word for it. Take Switzerland's word for it. They're the best run national bank. Arguably the best. And they are deflationary. This is why they're a safe haven. So ask yourself, is your favorite meme coin or cryptocurrency, is it deflationary at least? We didn't want to settle for good enough. Deflationary is not good enough. We needed scarce. It needs to be scarce. It needs to be reducing its supply with every trade. Every time it's traded, the supply shrinks. Every time it's traded, it retains liquidity. Every time it's traded, it accumulates USDC distributions, and it does so with every trade. That's the type of mechanism you want. That's the type of cryptocurrency you want. One that is sustainable, is efficient, and makes the most out of the network effect. Because blockchain doesn't have a research and development department and has to come up with new, thinner, faster, cheaper, brighter displays of our hardwares. All it needs is adaptation. All it needs to be sustainable, have solid fundamentals, solid tokenomics, and then make the most of all this liquidity rush that is happening right in front of us. The derivatives market is taking place on Ethereum right now as we speak. And derivatives market is over-the-counter, has been over-the-counter, but now it's being brought on chain by MasterCard, Visa, BlackRock, JP Morgan. The largest players in the entire industry are bringing that volume and liquidity nowhere else but on Ethereum. And this is not wishful thinking. I'll repeat it. These are facts right here. 99% of commodities is Ethereum. Verified for yourself. Treasuries, the most sought after, most liquid industry asset, is on Ethereum before regulations, before Ethereum ETF staking. So imagine if you can use Bitcoin ETF as collateral. What about once Ethereum ETF, staking ETF, is enabled for collateral? Now, anytime you take a loan against your staked ETH, it pays itself. That loan will literally, ETH will pay down your loan with your staking rewards. Think about that. What will that do to ETH's price? This market share will even increase even more. It will dominate it. And fast movers have the market advantage, fast mover advantage. And in technology, winner takes it all. Look at Amazon, dominating. Look at App Store, dominating. Look at Google, they're completely dominating. Visa, MasterCard, dominating. NVIDIA. In technology, is not let's work together and share together. No, it's very cutthroat. It's either a monopoly or a duopoly. That's it. And right now, the monopoly is on Ethereum side, right? So community, that's it on our side for now. this is the session for today, community. I hope that we were able to take away something from today's session. And we are at times right now that are really exciting. And it's beautiful to see that all our efforts that we've been putting in during tough times, during red days, during uncertain times, during rainy, stormy days, it's paying off now. And we start to see the blue skies coming out. The rainbow is out, and the community is doing what we need to do as a collective. And we have better days in front of us. We are at all-time highs. We have deep liquidity, and our proven concept is showing. So, community, this is it from our side. I just want us to be uplifted. Just want us to be encouraged and understand that we're on the right side of the blockchain. We're in the early stages of this technology, and amongst the three asset classes, real estate, stock market, bond market, investors are in dire need of new assets, and they're right here still in the US market in the form of tokenized treasury bills and tokenized fiat, which is stablecoins, and they're predominantly on Ethereum, including commodities like we saw. So with that said, community, let's come to your comments. Let's see what you have here. Let's start with Queen Lati. Says, Bull family, we are gathered here today to learn and be educated by the professor himself, King Steve. Let us value these teachings as they prepare us for what we are about to experience. Take us on. Thank you so much, Queen Lati. It's always a pleasure to see you in the community. We really, really appreciate you. Then we have Brother Theo. King Theo says, greetings and happy Thursday, my great brother Steve. Great, dearest, great Queen Mama Wino, and my awesome BRL family. I can't wait to hear your thoughts and insights regarding this new monetary system topic. I hope that you're able to take away something from today's session. Great brother Theo says, thank you as always for all that you continue to do for our wonderful community, great one. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, great brother Theo. We appreciate you just as much for always being part of these sessions. And we appreciate you for participating consistently. We see you all over on these various platforms, putting the word out, bringing awareness. You're very much appreciated, great brother Theo. Yes, I noticed that at the beginning there was no sound, so I had to come back and restart the whole session. So I apologize for that. Greetings to the community. Greetings to my Queen Mother Awino and my brother Steve. Greetings back to you too. Greetings to you too, Queen Debbie. Hope that you're well. It's always a pleasure to see you here today. And also want to thank you and Queen Val for yesterday's session on Facebook as well, for all the efforts that you're putting in. Yes, I see that many were not able to hear. There was no sound. Queen Aloshi says, greetings, Puran family. Another moment of getting enlightened. This education from Dev Steve keeps us miles ahead of others. We thank God for the opportunity. Thanks to you, Dev Steve and Mama Wino. We appreciate and thank you too, Queen Aloshi, for all your efforts, for always showing up, always being present, always participating in these community events. You're very much appreciated. We have Queen Patricia saying, good evening, family. Good evening, Mr. Steve and Mama Wino. We are back again to sit and listen to our educator par excellence. Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. Very, very much appreciated. It's always a pleasure to see you in the community, participating in these events regularly, consistently. You're very much appreciated. Then we have Queen Val says, hello, Bull Runners. Happy Thursday to all of us. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve, for consistently engaging with us, the community, and greetings to our Queen Mother. Thank you so much, Queen Val. Greetings right back to you as well. We also appreciate you for your consistency, along with Queen Debbie on yesterday's Facebook as well, and for your daily Zoom sessions full of patience and knowledge to guide and to guide the community to with all their queries and questions that they have. Then we have Queen Patricia says, "Good evening, family. Good evening, Mr. Steve and Mama Wino. Thank you, Mr. Steve, for your dedication and commitment always. We cherish this always. Stay protected and blessed always." Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. May you also stay blessed. We appreciate you very, very much for your consistency. You never miss a single session. You're very, very much valued and appreciated. We have Queen Beatrice says, "Good evening, community. Good evening, Queen Mother Awino and our Professor Steve. Glad the sound is back. Can't wait to be informed, educated, and inspired. Thank you. God bless you." Thank you for the feedback. Sorry again for the sound challenge that we had, but I'm glad that we were able to come back and go through the session without any further difficulties. We have Queen Val saying to our new members, "Welcome to our community session. Feel free to join our Telegram communities." Thank you, Queen Val. The links are right here. We have Bull Run, we have Survivor, and Killer Whale. These are all the links. So we highly encourage you to be part of these groups, be part of this movement. Like we said, we lay a lot of emphasis on being informed and educated based on current events, based on the sentiments in the industry. We take our time to highlight, dissect these current events, to look at them in a more detailed manner, leaving emotions out of all of it, leaving speculations and wishful thinking out of it, but just focus on the fundamentals and facts and then go from there. So thank you, Queen Val, for sharing the links. And yes, welcome to those that are new in the community. Queen Mangi says, "Good evening, family. This is another day of learning. Thanks, Brother Steve, for your dedication. We thank you too, Brother Isaac, for showing up and being part of this session today." We have Queen Esther saying, "Good evening, BRL family. Glad to be here once more, courtesy of our developer and Queen Mama Wino and King Steve. Thank you both so much." We thank you just as much, Queen Esther, for your consistency, always being part of these sessions, never missing a beat. It's always such a pleasure to see you in the community as you participate consistently. We have Queen Sawari says, "Building wealth on a solid foundation." Thank you, Mr. Steve, for the teachings. We thank you just as much, Queen Sawari. We appreciate you very, very much for your participation, and we believe that you're able to take away something from today's session as well. Brother Isaac says, "Hello, Brother Steve. I'm very excited to be part of this ecosystem. I have a matter of concern. Lately, we have not been able to access the staked platform to the of the MetaMask. What could be the issue?" First of all, there've been an intense. First of all, thank you for your feedback, your comments, Brother Isaac. There've been a very high requests on the staking platform, and that has been slowing down the load up period, and that's all that it is. So it just takes longer for it to load because there's so much usage, so many people are using the platform at the same time. That's the case. As far as MetaMask, like I said, MetaMask has been also just a bit slow lately. What I would advise or suggest is if you have updated the latest update of MetaMask. Sometimes it slows down when you're not on the latest updated version. And there's so many updates that are happening consistently. So sometimes it's good to also just clear your cache, your history, close your tabs. Sometimes you have just too many tabs open, and just close down all the tabs and then make sure that you have the latest version of MetaMask, whatever wallet you're using. And currently, there's just so much demand for the staking platform right now, and it's been experiencing some time to load. But that's it. Really, there's really nothing to be concerned about. Your funds are there, your tokens are there. It just takes longer to load because there's just so much demand, so much usage so much activity is going on the staking platform. I appreciate you, brother Isaac, for bringing this up, and I hope that this was able to just bring you a peace of mind and just answer your question as well. Um, Then we have Queen Tomiletso says, "Good evening, our developer brother Steve, Queen Mother Wino, and the entire Boran family. Yet another session where we are educated and empowered. It's always a pleasure to see you, Queen Tomiletso, in the community. We appreciate you very, very much, and we believe that you are able to take away something from today's session. Always a pleasure to see you participating and being part of these sessions. Very, very much. Then we have Queen Grace. Queen Grace says, "Thank you, Steve, for yet another day to educate us. We are all informed. We are a well-informed community. We stay ahead of the curve. Our bull run is set to ride up steadily, due to its unique fundamentals." Beautifully said, Queen Grace. Beautifully said. Really, there's nothing more to add to this than what you already said. The beautiful thing is that we're all on the same page, and we understand that the focus should always be on fundamentals and not on sentiments, emotions, and speculations. Unfortunately, in the early stage of any technology, because there's not that maturity, and there's not just that liquidity, and there's not enough of those um, uh, projects or ecosystems with strong fundamentals, usually it gets moved aside, and center stage takes speculation, trends, what's trending right now, what's the hottest meme right now, and that's how speculation takes center stage, right? But as this industry is getting ready to mature, with all this liquidity coming in, with volume, all these new products, and all these new applications being deployed on Ethereum, it's going to change and put a shift in new individuals or market participants, and they'll focus more on utility tokens that have sustainable staking distributions, that have strong fundamentals and tokenomics, that are addressing the challenges of inflation, or are retaining liquidity, and have a banning mechanism that are deflationary, at least, if not scarce, like ours is. We saw the difference between a monetary system that is debt driven and that loses its purchasing power, and then we saw one that is based on liquidity and that is actually deflationary, and that is considered a safe haven, right? And that's the route that we are taking. We want to take the route where we are considered a safe haven, because we are not even just deflationary, but we are scarce, and we are retaining liquidity, and we are having sustainable staking distributions, and we are also banning our supplies being scarce. That's very important, community, to understand. So thank you, Queen Grace, for your feedback. Very, very much appreciated. Queen Patricia says, "I thank God for your insightful educative sessions. Brother Steve, you have always kept the BRL community ahead and are propelling us to the right direction. May Almighty God bless you and Mom abundantly." Thank you so much for your well wishes, your warm and encouraging and uplifting words, Queen Patricia. May all be with you as well. May you also and yours be blessed. We appreciate you, and for always being part of these sessions. Thank you so much as well. Then we have Queen Virginia says, "Hello, Mr. Steve. Thanks for good info and education. I appreciate you." We appreciate you just as much, Queen Virginia, for your participation. Your feedback is very much appreciated. And for always participating and being part of these sessions, you are very, very much appreciated. Then we have my brother WPR. King WPR says, "Greetings, King Steve and Boran ecosystem family. It always feels empowering whenever we listen to every community session. Indeed, knowledge is power, and we as community have applied that knowledge." Beautifully said. And yes, indeed, we are a very well-informed community, and we are applying the information and knowledge that we have. And what it does, it gives us that sense of security, right? It gives us that peace of mind, and we're not being swayed by emotions or by trends and by sentiments, but rather because we believe and understand what's happening. And once it hits mainstream and it's looked at as breaking news, we all understand and know that no, it's not breaking news. It's been happening. It's been around. It's just that this just not been hitting mainstream before, right? And it's beautiful to see that what we've been discussing for so long, community, it's finally now hitting mainstream slowly, slowly, and it's catching on slowly, slowly. And most importantly, today with the listing of our USDC stablecoin that we are paired with is now being traded in the New York Stock Exchange. This is major, community, because the success of USDC is the success for our ecosystem, because we're not only paired with USDC, but we issue sustainable USDC staking rewards as well. So the more USDC is being globally accepted, highly regulated, trusted, and its reserves are managed by BlackRock. Who can say that? Which stablecoin has BlackRock as their asset manager, their reserves? And that which stablecoin does BlackRock hold 10% of? Right? So more and more trust is going to be coming to stablecoin, USDC stablecoin, and they're going to just grow as much as BIDL is growing, because BIDL is the tokenized version of Treasury bills. Treasury bills are required to be purchased by everyone issuing stablecoins. So imagine the demand for that, for BIDL that is about to come. And the beautiful thing about BIDL, they pay you in USDC as well. So every month they pay you interest in USDC. You accumulate daily, but you get paid every month. So imagine using that as your collateral. So whatever loan you take, it's paid off every month. So what's about to hit us, we're not ready for it. So we're really not ready for it. And that's the beautiful thing, community. We have so much to be grateful for, excited about, and not to be sidetracked or demotivated, demoralized by the FUDs or fear or the back and forth between tariff wars and all of that is happening. It's just noise. It's just distraction. So well said, King WPR. Queen Marilyn says, amazing session. Thank you for your feedback, Queen Marilyn. It's always a pleasure to see you participating and being part of these sessions. Very, very much appreciated. Then King WPR says, thank you, King Steve, and BRL family. Wish you to be healthy, safe, and blessed. Life can be looking so different in the months to come. I hope we will reap massive success. Thank you so much, King WPR. May you and your family also be safe, blessed, and healthy. We appreciate your warm and encouraging words. It's always a pleasure to see you taking your time and staying up late. We know that you're in Singapore, and the time difference is 5 hours ahead. So you staying up this late just to be part of these sessions speak volume for you and your dedication. It's always a pleasure to see you in the community. Then we have Queen Louisa says, greetings, Boron family. Special greetings to Queen Mom and Brother Steve. You are always a blessing to the Boron community. Thank you so much for your warm, welcoming words of encouragement. You are also a blessing to us as a community as well, Queen Louisa. You're always consistent, leading by example. Very, very much appreciated. And then we have Queen Rosemary says, this is powerful, Dev Steve and Mother Winner. We are so grateful for being there for us as a community. Thank you so much, Queen Rosemary. You're also very much appreciated for always participating, being part of these sessions. Very, very much appreciated, Queen. We appreciate you for always being part of these sessions. Queen Madawino says, greetings to all the amazing BRL kings and queens. Always looking forward to these educational and empowerment sessions. Thank you so much, Queen Mama. And also, Queen Madawino says, education is for improving the lives of the community and making the world better than you found it. We are a reflection of the community. Thank you, Steve, for impacting us with wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much, Mom. We appreciate you so much for all the efforts that you are putting in. We are just trying to be just as consistent like you are and as committed like you are. You're leading us by example, and your commitment to leading the tweets every single day for us that we can also be part of. All we need to do is now like, retweet, and comment along with King Crypto Riser and Queen Val that are beautifully creating these beautiful banners. So it takes a whole community to make this happen, and you are just have been leading the way for us. We appreciate you very much. What you do with the queens as well, daily on Zoom, Fridays and Sundays, participating, never missing a beat. So we appreciate you also just as much, Mom. Then we have Queen Super says, "Happy Thursday, community," and listening attentively. Thank you, Queen Super, for participating. You're very much appreciated. It's always a pleasure to see you in the community as well. Um, she further says, "Amazing sessions and good evening all." Good evening right back to you too, Queen Super. I hope you were able to take away something from today's session. King Abdullahi says, "Warm greetings to you all." Warm greetings right back to you too, King Abdullahi. You're very much appreciated. We see you all over social platforms, on various platforms. Your effort, your leadership, your energy is contagious. We appreciate you very much, King Abdullahi, for all that you're contributing and leading by example. Then we have Queen Kosi says, "Greetings to all of the bull runners. Interesting and uplifting session. I appreciate your feedback. Glad that you're able to make it once more, Queen Kosi. I hope you and yours are doing great." We have Queen Gloria says, that was powerful session. Thank you so much. Glad that you're able to take away something. We appreciate your feedback and your participation and your consistency, Queen Gloria. Um, then we have Queen Tabitha says, "Wow, what an amazing session with our brother Steve. May God bless you. Feeling rich already." Thank you for your feedback, Queen Tabitha. Very, very much appreciated. Hope you and yours are great. Glad to have you as always with us in these events. Then we have none other than the amazing, beautiful Queen Mother Caroline says, "Greetings. Great topic. Knowledge is power. I am paying attention to what is going on, not the noise." Beautifully said. There's really nothing more to add to this. This is what we need to do, right? Sometimes it's good to just mute the noise, and let's focus on what's ahead of us. Let's embrace what we have and just be patient for the world to come to us, right? For what's ours to come to us, because we've did the heavy lifting already. Sometimes it's just all we need to do is be still, mute all the noise, and just embrace what's coming our way. Beautifully said, Queen Mother Caroline, and we appreciate you very, very much as well. We have Uncle George says, "Thanks, Steve, for the education you've provided today. It's very relevant and visionary. Your foresight is unfathomable as you envisaged all the fundamentals, and we are safe and confident." Thank you so much for your well wishes, your encouraging and uplifting words, Uncle George. You're also very much appreciated for your leadership, always showing up in these community events, all the efforts you're putting in for the progression of this community. We appreciate you very, very much, Uncle George. Then we have Queen Jane says, "Greetings all. Blessed to be in this platform. Much inspired and educated too. Be blessed, all community." May you also be blessed, Queen Jane. We appreciate you so much for always being part of these events, for your leadership, your commitment. Very, very much appreciated. We have Queen Emily says, "Much greetings, Brother Steve, Queen Mama Wino, and Boran family. Late but following closely. We are glad that you're able to take your time and be part of this session today. We appreciate you very much, Queen Emily." We have great brother Theo says, "This session was beyond phenomenal. Thank you as always, keeping us ahead of the game. Things you've shared years ago is now breaking news for mainstream." Beautifully said, great brother Theo. That's a fact, that's a fact, and that's how it's supposed to be. We shouldn't be hit with surprises, not in our community. We always aim to have the best possible, right? Good enough is not good enough for us. We want the best, right? And to do that, it takes effort, it takes discipline, it takes consistent. Most importantly, it takes patience, right? And that's the hardest part, patience, and wait for things to get to us, because the heavy lifting is done. So beautifully said, great brother Theo. And it's beautiful to see things unfold right in front of us that we've been discussing for years now, right? Great brother Theo says, I would like to extend a big thank you to you, dearest great mother Wino. You too always shy away and shine the spotlight on us, so we are shining it back at you, two amazing souls. Thank you so much for your very, very well wishes and your words of encouragement, great brother Theo. Very much appreciated. And of course, we'll have to reflect it right back to you too for your efforts, your consistency. You're always here on various platforms, participating, uplifting, encouraging. You never miss a session. Your consistency is really contagious. Your words of encouragement go a long way. We appreciate you very much. And that's on the highest note, community. So want to appreciate you all. Thank you all for your participation. And we appreciate you all, community. Stay safe, stay healthy. And those who have not yet and came in later, have not yet engaged with the tweets, I highly encourage us to do so. Even this video right now, once after we finish, let's ensure to hit the like and comment on it so that it can get that boost for the algorithm and hit as many people as possible. Community, we thank you all. We appreciate you all. Till we meet again, community. Bye-bye, everyone. And of course, we can't close the session without wishing the queens a wonderful session tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. If you're a queen and you've not participated in these events, highly encourage you to do so. Where queens gather, they gather Fridays and Sundays. Civilizations are built. Exchanges. It's a platform where not just crypto topics are there, but also just life lessons, experiences are being shared. And that's something that you don't want to miss. If you're a queen, Fridays and Sundays is when it takes place. So for the queens, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful session tomorrow. For the rest of us, latest by Saturday, let's meet again in high spirits. Stay safe and stay healthy, community, till we meet again. Bye bye, everyone.